Executive Vice President Hungerford, faculty colleagues, alumni, master's candidates, and their families and friends. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2022 Convocation for Master's Candidates in the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. In today's ceremony, we recognize our graduating class of 2022, but also our equally important graduate classes of 2020 and 2021. After having been through so much during these past 2 years, it is pure joy for us to be able to be here today, finally, together. I thank all of you for coming to celebrate the many accomplishments of our master's candidates. We honor today a magnificent group that on commencement this coming Wednesday will join the ranks of our over 47,000 alumni and who will embark on professional and academic careers around the world in the great tradition of Columbia University. Equally important, we also honor today the families and friends of our candidates who have endured with them the long rigors of their academic pursuit. I would ask all master's candidates to rise and applaud those friends and family members who have helped them to be here today. Today's keynote address will be offered by Professor Adam Tooze. Adam Tooze is a Catherine and Shelby Davis Professor of History at Columbia University and Director of the European Institute. He joined the faculty in 2015 and teaches and researches widely in the fields of 20th century and contemporary history. Professor Tooze's interests comprise modern German history with a special focus on the history of economics and economic history, as well as a range of themes in political, intellectual, and military history across a canvas stretching from Europe across the Atlantic. He's the author of 5 books, the most recent of which is Shutdown: How COVID Shook the World's Economy. In 2019, Foreign Policy magazine named Professor Tooze one of the top global thinkers of the decade. He has received the Leverhulme Prize Fellowship, the Age Sus Kult Historisches Buch Prize, the Longman History Today Prize, the Wolfson Prize, and the LA Times History Prize. Professor Tooze is co-host of the popular weekly economics podcast, Ones and Twos. Very clever. Very clever, with Foreign Policy magazine. 2 months ago, New York Magazine featured Professor Tooze on its cover with a headline that read, "Adam Tooze explains everything." That may seem to you like journalistic hyperbole, but to his colleagues and students, it is merely descriptive of the vast range of his interpretive prowess. Professor Tooze.
Well, thank you, Carlos, and I really am never, ever going to live that down. But really, first things first, really, I just want to start by saying congratulations to all of you on this wonderful occasion. You are taking a graduate degree from Columbia University, and this is a huge deal. It's a huge, huge achievement. And It has taken a lot to get you here, starting from your infancy, from kindergarten. And as Carlos was saying, it takes a lot of people to get you here. And I was delighted to see Carlos calling you all out to cheer on your parents, your wonderful parents who showed up today to enjoy this occasion with you and richly deserve the applause, the generous applause that you gave them. You don't have to do it again, but seriously, families and teachers, take a bow. It's a beautiful occasion. Just imagine how terrible it could have been this morning. The weather was ghastly. The sun has come out, and you guys are looking great. As my daughter was telling me the other day, Dad, if there's one thing that's really good about Columbia, it's the regalia, because you really do look beautiful. It's a very becoming color on all of you. You look handsome and beautiful, the lot of you. For my part, I have to borrow my regalia on occasions like this, because when I was at your stage in life, I was so socially maladjusted that I managed to avoid attending every single one of my graduation ceremonies. Seriously, every single one. And it seemed cool at the time, but I have subsequently lived to regret it. Genuinely and seriously, and not only because I don't have my own gown, because it's absolutely right to be here. This is an occasion that really should be marked. And on this score, all of you are already definitely smarter than me at this stage. So it's me who needs to have things explained to him and not the other way around. It's really a delight for me and my colleagues to be with you here and to share this occasion with you. It is one of the great privileges of anyone teaching at a university like this to work with students like you, to share your enthusiasm, your ambition, your goals. It energizes and quite literally sweeps you along. I know this from experience because over the winter of this year, a gang of master's students, in their energetic way, lobbied me to run a reading group on the political economy of climate change. And there they are. And after Glasgow, COP26 and all that, there was so much energy that I allowed my arm to be twisted into doing it. And before we knew it, we had 15 to 20 people attending regularly. It started on Zoom. It was a bit improvised at first, but it was hands down the best discussion and the best brain food of the academic year for me. And a bunch of them are graduating today, so a shout out to all of them. The only bad thing about an occasion like this is that it closes a chapter. It genuinely does. This is the end of a certain phase of your lives. And this properly induces, I think, a weird sense, a slight queasiness in the stomach, a sense of looking back. And that, I think, is something to think about and think on and to consider what it means for your future. And I think the key idea to take away is that in our world, your education never stops. And this was just the formal bit for a certain phase. And from here on in, you're going to learn from other people in other ways, and you yourselves are going to become teachers. And that is the way in which this evolves. Having said all that, the reading group was so enthusiastic about our discussions that they decided we were going to meet in perpetuity on Zoom. And apparently the idea is to do it every month for the foreseeable future. So that's the way that's going. The reading group was born out of the urgency of the moment. And man, has there been enough urgency to go around these last few years, and Carlos was alluding to it, at the national, at the global, at the very local level. It's been exhilarating on the one hand and terrifying, perhaps above all confusing, I think, for everyone. This is not how the future was supposed to look, not around when you folks were born in the late 1990s and early 2000s. This isn't the end of history that we were promised. Indeed, it's almost now a cliche to say that history has restarted, which is all very well, and it gives you a sense of I told you so, but saying it is the easy bit, right? If that is the case, the questions resurge, and the questions are how do we orientate ourselves in a world in which history has restarted? Now, you can do that by holding firmly to some values, and if you personally are clear about those, that's great. And that is part of a product of an education. But defining and debating those values raises a further host of problems, philosophical and political. It's a very contentious business. If we can agree on goods even, just presume that we were able to do that, we would then need to rank order them, prioritize, and decide how to match in those terms. And this is part of the confusion of our moment, an argument about values. Setting Russia aside for a moment, which in many ways is a relatively clear-cut case, think about the great divide between the West and China, which affects so many of us on a campus like this. Or the collapse in the moral authority of American democracy and its constitution that will affect very many others in very direct ways in months and years to come. Neither of those two developments, profoundly troubling, puzzling, and contentious as they are, was anticipated in the late 1990s. But that is the world which you have grown up in and are graduating into. Failing comprehensive normative agreement, a problem like climate has the advantage, and I say that meaning it seriously, the advantage that we can orientate ourselves towards it pragmatically. Difficult as it is, we can focus our collective energies on something like CO2 reduction and achieving net zero, depending on where you are in the world, between 2050 and 2070. That promises the chance of collective success. In fact, we spend so long in our reading group, it was almost perpetually the case that we were bemoaning difficulties and failures, that I think we failed to spot one other possibility. Imagine for a second instead that through our collective efforts, preeminently through the collective efforts of your generation, that we actually did manage to get to net zero or something like it by 2050. We might, at that point, have to reevaluate our darker thoughts, I think, about our species and our capacity for collective action. With good reason, climate is one of the problems that preoccupies rich countries, and we orientate ourselves towards the Paris Climate Agreement of 2015 in doing so. Inadequate as it was, it provides the benchmark that drives us forward towards new net zero goals. But the climate treaty was only one of the two global pacts sworn in 2015. The other was the United Nations Agreement on the Sustainable Development Goals. For the rich world, this overwhelmingly is focused on the issue of sustainability. But for billions of other people on this planet, in Latin America, in Asia, and above all in Africa, it is development that is key. It's a huge and vastly complex question, but if there is one thing that we know about it, it is that development is impossible without the thing that we are celebrating here this afternoon, and thing isn't quite the right term, but you know what I mean, education, knowledge formation, and transmission. Furthermore, we don't just know this in our gut as educators and people who have been committed to the project of education. We know it because we've studied it. A report from the IMF came out just a few weeks ago on this relationship between basic skills, numeracy and literacy, and economic growth. Now, PowerPoint, I'm told, is not appropriate for commencement speeches, but if it were, I would be showing you the regression, and the relationship is linear and strong. Without basic skills, no development, and the more basic skills, the better. Basic skills are something that everyone here today takes for granted. But imagine for a second how it would be to navigate our way through a world of the huge complexity that we all face without basic literacy and numeracy. This is the challenge facing literally billions of fellow humans on the planet today. Addressing that grotesque imbalance in the world is a huge challenge. But as a cliche says, it's also a huge opportunity. As far as human potential goes, the extraordinary development of Asia in recent decades is thrilling. But as for us collectively, the really staggering thing is that we really ain't seen nothing yet. Think of all the potential that can still be unlocked in the 7.8 billion other people who share this world with us today. To bring this home, focus for a second on something else in your own bodies, in the bodies of those around you at this moment. Think of the stuff that is inside us, the stuff without which you have not been able to enter campus for some time now, and without which we would literally not be able to be assembled here today. Vaccines. In the spring of 2020, I sat at a safe social distance from an eminent colleague in the medical sciences who told me, Adam, you know, we're betting on a miracle. We've never, ever done a coronavirus vaccine, ever before in our history, and it's not for want of trying. 9 months later, we had done not one, but an entire suite of vaccines of varying degrees of effectiveness and cost. And when I say we, I mean scientists are literally all over the world. It was a triumph. My dad was a first-generation molecular biologist of note. He died last year. He died happy because what he was seeing around him was a triumph for molecular biology. But it was also a failure. An epic failure, because despite the huge and obvious advantages to comprehensive vaccination spelled out in trillions of dollars by the no lesser authority than the IMF, as of this weekend, I have 4 vaccines in my arm, and a third of humanity has not a single one. We triumphed in science and failed in economics and politics. And as a result, right here, right now, we're riding our luck. Who knows what the flu season of 2022 will bring? And that is one more reason, and I mean this seriously, to enjoy this summer with our masks off and our fingers crossed for the year to come. Because COVID was a trial run, and though it has cost the lives of 15 million people right now in excess deaths, according to the WHO, and my heart goes out to all of those who lost family or friends since this pandemic started, it was in the broader scheme of things a lucky escape. The lesson we must learn is that in the 21st century to come, we need to do much, much better. And to do better, we will need not just scientists and technicians, but managers, lawyers, politicians, social workers, educators, journalists, administrators, statisticians, committed business people, regular citizens. In other words, we are going to need you. And I don't even need to tell you this. You know it. Your experience here and the emergencies we've lived through together on this campus, in this city, teach you that. And in that clarity and determination, which I hope that you take from this place at this moment, lies our best hope. Thank the Lord that we have you, thrilling, talented, energetic, well-equipped young people. And imagine how many more there are to come, how much more potential there is out there. Right now in the world, there are roughly 720 million young people in the age bracket between 18 and 22, in the age bracket relevant for ceremonies like this. And there are literally billions behind you. You and your brothers and sisters, people below the age of 25, make up an astonishing 42% of the world's population at this moment. Now imagine just for a second, all of you in that 18 to 22 bracket, all 720 million actually in higher education. Let's not argue over the curriculum. Whatever it is, just imagine you're all progressing through high school and from there to further education and training. 720 million of your contemporaries either graduating or looking forward to it. Imagine this scene here today, and I'm reliably informed there's about 700 people here today. Imagine it multiplied 1,000-fold, and then 1,000-fold again. A bit like one of my favorite movie scenes, the closing credits in everyone's favorite Xmas movie, Love Actually, when they start with one couple embracing, and then it explodes, the couple in the airport arrival hall, and then it multiplies out in a dizzying tessellation of images. Imagine this rejoicing here over educational achievement multiplied 1,000,000-fold. That should be our future every year, forever. And if that isn't an optimistic vision, I don't know what is. And on that dizzying note, may I offer you and everyone who helped to get you here, on behalf of my colleagues, the staff, and the university, our very warmest congratulations on being part of that future, and allow us to wish you the very best in the next chapter in your exciting lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Tooze. We now arrive at the central point of the ceremony, the presentation of the master's candidates. We ask you to come forth as we call your name in recognition of your individual accomplishments as you cross the stage. If you would rather not shake hands, please feel free to not do so.
May I present the candidates for the Master of Arts 2022.
Diala Qasim. Ainur Ahmed Khan. Gabriella Farajin. Ashley Wells. Sana Hashmi. Brianna Barrett. Andrea Patricia Leal Montemayor. Wakego Ifadima Wasike. Christopher L. Brennan. Noah Greenstein. Samantha Michelle Davenport. Anna Tishkov. Lyubov Zakharova. Francesca Mans. Dayani Phillips. Savin Narwal. Allison Braybrooks. Sophia Gabara. Abby Klein. Colton Klein. Anna Sophia Meneses. Nicole Renee Sussmain. Zachary Yatsek Shimoinsky. Pin Hao Chow. Henry Jin Hang Fang. Morgan Goodman Horner. Ashika Ishwarya Shrikant Ganesh. Evgenia Vasilopoulou. Jessica Kwan. Mariano Rato.
Teresa Tarafiero.
Alicia Marie Cristiano. Chinyere Chambers. Morgan Hallow. Shivani Dasani. Nicole Alora. Abigail Marie Miola. Sherry Elizabeth Kazatsky. Megan D'Alessio. Roni Friedman. Caitlin Maffett. Catherine Chan. Anna Sikorsky. Michaela Mincone. Patrick Reiser.
Franche Kaides.
Alexandra Rose Rinaldi. Zoe Alexandra Klobus. Lei Pei. Isabel Julie Kojakaru Duran. Maria Sophia Barboza. Otis Adir Satham. Emily Rain Bickle. Nina Lee Prescott. Laura Christine Homan. Patrick Gun-hee Cho. Sanchi Sharma. Jasmine Arisha Jim Ilham. Gianna Santiago Lam. Matre Basu. Rudina Haidari. John Kevin Quinn. Lindsay Margaret Atkinson. Amber Lee Hughes. Layla Fanayan. Catherine Elizabeth Weller. Wei Wen Lua.
KB's on the stage.
Linda Chung. Marley Lei. Hiroki Sato. Marcus Tan. Tzu Sheng Milton Wang.
Need to get behind someone.
Elena Saltzman. Peter Marulis.
Franche Kaides.
Samuel Hellman. Jia Qi Wang. Dan Li Lin. An Lan Ju.
Scout Inglaterra.
Rachel Kwok. Yi Dang. Shinji Lin. Luisa Guimares Nobre. Isabel Landy. Matthew Barrickman. Ziyu Song. Ziyi Wang. Wen Tian Li. Sunim Kim. Liang Li. Wen Chaomi. Hu Zejiang. Xue Dong. Yixian Liu. Yuqi Deng. Suqi Lun. Yiling Pan. Armand Laika. Alberto Javier Torres. Bhavya Pandiaram. Ying Zhang. Samira Roshni Adhar. Rahul Cherian Aratakulam. Tushar Bhatia. Pedro Emmanuel Di Carvalho Brito Elias. Vikramaditya Sawan. Sadhna Naik. Christian Bozan. Leila Maria Beck. Rukaya Faisal Bengali. Xiao Chu Ma. Edmund Yu Xia. Maria Teresa Sarmiento Villena. Avnish Dayal Singh. Liam Brendan Murphy. Safia Mehamud. Renee Reinecker. Matilda Nielsen. David Fish. Benji Villier. Robert Prather Beeland. Anuja Jaiswal. Clarissa Lee. Yun Hao Zhang. Wan Lin Yang. Zhang Yu Huang. Zhang Hao Chan. Krishna Gambhir. Maria Ferriello. Jessica James. Chan Tashal. Junhao Shu. Siti Hilia Nabila. Irene Akram. Maria Francesca Keller Sarmiento. Tico Asatiani. Lucas Kleiter. Camilla Aubry. Olympia De Ambrosis. Ivy Natasha Ada Guggenheim Rogers. Alexander Radecki. Aliza Jaudat Wahid. Natalie Balabadra. Eva Stoyanovich. Ella Abdel Khalik. Surya Jones. Wan Hui Liu. Eleanor Roque.
Clara Grunette.
Elizabeth Postel. Marloes Van Loon. Sidra Yousaf. Van Eun Chua. Koen Kleineges. Manakoro Mbai.
Richard?
Alexandra Waddell.
Muhammad Alfian bin Amin. Edmund Lau. Malik Harris. Shun Chun Yin. Fitsum Berhane Mehari. Celine Leibfried. Vanessa Bramante. Francesca von Krauland. Iva Skoho. Zhong Juan. Vatzel Jawar. Malika Weigel. Lavanya Sayal. Yu Sheng. Su Yuan Wang. Xiao Le Shang. Yi Qi Zhao.
Jenny Ujaya Zhizhang. Federico Gutgeld. Ruben Abergal. Paul Smith.
Fengji Hao. Xiao Fei Yu. La Zhuo. Cheng Wei Wang. Yu Xie He. Ning Zhu Ma.
Richard Diaz. Samantha Johnston.
Zora Benzerga. Mira Bharadwaj. Sharon Liu. Amanda Marie Turner. Tess Kidney Bishop. Evelian Ter-Evest. Nicole Kim. Anjali Priya Krishnan. Shagun Sethi.
Brooke Barrera Sheldon. Idel Ulner.
Joey Ho. Rahma Mohammed. Tanya Ahmed. Taylor McInnes Scribner. Sylvia Miller. Kayla Smith. Yan Hao Ren. Yu Wei Hu. Valère Demoink. Priyanka Ganesan Narahari. Lena Duldul. Anita Francis Shanoy. Brittany Bayana. Logan Michael McVeigh. Ria Epperson. Dominique Carlo Franceschi. Magdalene Wagner. Neha Shri Tadepali. Lindsay Alpaw.
Mariah Noble.
Kelly Shipper. Lu Yan. Shabnan Fayaz.
Katya Diaz.
Monmeet Niger. Nilab Yosefzai. Juana Y. Sam Lee.
Claudia Trehan.
Siwan Park. Noura Leah Burkle. Tiffany Shiro. Larissa Peltola. Isadora Roskick. Anna Elizabeth Miller. Aditi Shetty. Tasnia Shajahan. Daniela Araja Villalobos. Cordelia Drew. Isabella Evangelia Efstafiu. Reem Samer Katrib. Adule Dajani. Thalia Hawkins. Hannah May. Alexia Cervello San Vicente. Karina Gobelbecker.
Ming
Shayna
Gong.
Lewis. Ji Hong Chen. Huai Yu Lu,
Go. I
Lin
read you.
Qi Shu, Hao Qi Zhang, Yasmin Fashir, Brandon Fitzgerald Sano,
Kai Hui Zhao. Yifei Bai. Haching Shu. Siwong Liu. Yu Jiang. Jinyu Zhang.
Ke Han Sui,
Jinju Yang.
Ge Jia Zhang,
Liumeng Liu.
Jing Yi Liu, Gabrielle Oken, Xiaoyin Hu,
Yuying Zhu.
Xin
And-
Yu Han,
Angie Liu.
Yan Xiang Chen, Tianling Shen, Zhan Hao Zhang, Yuning Zhou, Ntabi Singh Rapoia, George Beck IV, Tian Yi Tsai, Sarah Cohen, Bridget Drager, Davide Zurlo, Yusuf Murtaza Umraytwala, Shabir Agha Abbas, Shamim Hossein,
Salvatore Volpe.
Clarissa Rossetti, Shireen Zainab, Toka Mohammed Badran, Sara Ahmed, Faria Faizadin Mansour, Simone Firdos Rajan, Arwa Palanpurwala, Ele'e El Uazani, Sharon Kaur, Zi Kun Zhuang,
Sinwen Cheng. Yunke Yan. Yichin Song. Kai Chow.
Michael Demian, Wen Hui Fang, Meng Jun Ju, Zhu Wen Ye,
Con-
Yun Shen Zhang,
Konstantin Kuchenmeister. Yubo Wang. Penji
Amin
Wang.
Otgan Bayar, Jasmine Pierce,
Chan Du. Mengjuan Li.
Emily Jennings Dobbs, Ronnie Goodrich, An Tu Tuan, Yifei Yang, Kumiko Akama, Eriko Cummings, Tokiko Powell, Kyoko Masuda Vaughn,
Tomoko Hamada Dogan.
Renati Evers, Jiao Wen Lu, Ramon Flores Pinedo, Amit Saraswat, Victor Tsai, Wen Zhao, Jiao Wen Yan, Bing Jun Zhang,
Lei Shu.
Han Yu Wang, Yilun Zhang, Jia Changjin, Yu Xiang Huang, Bin Peng Xiu, Junping Chen, Hao Yang Wang, Bowen Zhang,
Ziheng Zhang.
Han Jun Xia, Charles Valerio,
Yufei Zhang.
Gui Xin Liu, Wan Lin Li, Ke Shen Shi, Yu Xuan Liang, Zhuo Han Zhang, Yu Zheng Wang, Qi Jian Yang, Jing Zhang, Zi Fang,
Yanzhan Wan,
Yang Zhu Yu,
Rita Ather, Dolan Wells Gallagher,
Alexander Budovetsky,
Jen Wang,
Ji Sun Yun, Mu Tong Wu,
Yang Zhao,
Chang Zhou, Dong Ryong Choi, Da Ran Xu, Wan Qin Wang, De Shu Chen, Hui Yuan Chen, Zhang Shang Chen, Aiden Kenny, Gurmahar Singh Macker, Parker Harrison Yagman, Jing Wang, Yaorong Wang, Xinran Wang, Shubo Wang, Yiqin Shi, Xi Chen, Xin Yi Zhuang,
Sierra,
Chisholm Onyishi,
Sierra Vo,
Si Qi Chen, Zhao Yuan Bai,
Kata Mizu,
Andrea Tillotson, Danielle Mirad Weiss, Vaibhav Chandra, Chandan Garg, Xin Yi Bian, Kwan Yu Ko, Neil Law, Christian Younghans, Carola Gorena Morales, Hannah Rosario,
Marvelous Maadze,
Jayla Janice Allen, Dong Lai Shu, Tian Xian Li, Yao Dong Wang, Zhou Yue Hao, Jia Zhenling, Zhi Han Yang, Shi Qin Shen, Irene Kyung,
Richard Gupta,
Jordan Shah Jahan Singh, Kushal Wijezandara, Daniel Joseph McNulty II,
keep moving,
Emily Scharf, Yuan Fang Maria Chang, Maximilian Kaleo, Shannon Croy, Talia Malkin, Sophia Kreutzberger, Haley Zovikian, Olivia Zalecki, Lauren Elaine Mahoney,
Suketa Kudam,
Courtney Jiggets, Nicholas Jeffrey Palacio, Tony Hisako Gagliardi, Taylor Aaron Goto, Katie Mary Wilson, Hai Ye Huang, Jordan Wellnets, Husam Alrul, Lin Kan Nguyen,
Jinya Ho, Wenshu Xian,
Brianna Jordan, Andrea Marie Munoz,
Alexandra Osnes,
Alexandra Cortesi, Rudolph George Banney, Si Jia Lu, Louisa Ong, Chang Xu, Yu Ting Zhang,
Salma Fayez Mohammed Ibrahim,
Yu Han Ye, Vidad Kokar, Aisha Kokar, Peter Dawson Kwok, Michael Dennis Weisner, Syra Walker Ali, Zoha Afzal, Matthew Capetta,
Tyler Goodall, Laura Charney,
Ming Nai, Zhang Yao Wu, Jing Lu, Yue Jie Hu, Shui Han Yu,
Eugene Wang, Carissa Kacha, Napat
Zhang.
Dumkon, Youngguan Song, Gareth Quartree,
Du Shin Sun, Ren Yin Zhang,
Ying Yao Wu, Leon Harrison Leeds,
Wen Tao Chen, Travis Wayne Vidic, Yu Qing Chen, Emily Polungao Callejo,
Archana Kumar,
Tejasvi Varalvar,
Dominic Luciano,
Can we read this name again? Go ahead.
Alexandra Carpi,
Jacob Jones, Yi Jia Ju,
Keep moving to the top of the stairs.
Yun Fan Ling,
Card right there.
Jianing Wang, Kun Yao, Stefan Redeker, John Einerson, Christopher William Seipt, Xin Tan,
Janae Hu,
Yi Yao, Lin Jing, Mo Di Shu, Michaela Wright,
Clara Fataya,
Chen Xing Wang, Wen Jing Chen, Amanda Song, Yi Xuan Liu,
Stairs, don't pause. Keep
Zhao Wen Zhang, Meng Qing Shao, Jing Chang, Ming Lian, Sophie Cullis,
Come on, guys.
Zhu Sen Yin, Zhu Han Qiang, Tian Jian Kong, Yu Mo Wang, Le Qing Zhou, Jing Yu Lang,
You have a printed card.
Qi Tong Yang, Ming Yi Li,
Jiru Li,
Guo Ying Li, Hui Qian Yu, Yiling Tian, Remy Randiro,
Tejas Iyer,
Joshua Ferris, Jia Zhang Chen,
Straight to the top of the stairs. Thank you.
Sachiko Takayasu,
Thank you. We'll read your name. Just keep moving to the top of the stairs.
Zach Chavetta, Brandon Perdomo, Taylor Thompson, Courtney Hazel Scott, Cordell Keandre Hammond, Seth Langer,
Can we finish these names?
Eleonora Aneta,
Martina Lancha,
Anahi Naranjo Hara, Kaylee Stack, Rochelle Reamer,
Jingwei Liao, Anthony Coniglio,
Hand your cards in hand and go to the top of the stairs.
Mingwei Liao,
Pause. Just keep moving through.
Jia Ge Song, Yumeng Jiang,
Do you have a printed card?
Samantha Hui Ying Li, Shui Chun Bai, Shu Yuan Wan, Su Qi Zhao,
Bo Crowell,
Sahara Monique Solomon,
Bo Crowells.
Keep moving to the car there.
Jan Batzner,
Come on, guys, let's go. Come on.
Hao Lin Sun, Zhi Yu Wang, Lily Zerlin, Mer Unisa Ali,
Top of the stairs.
Lydia Helu, Sama Jaffer, Helene Lantigua,
Spencer Moy.
Kyle William Zarif,
Colton Alexander Orr.
Edwina Louise Vera Booth Cliburn, Marie Donata von der Leyen, Jia Yi Gu, Chini Ding, Michelle Chu, Leah Dennison, Adekojo Abudu, Madison Hampton, Emily Small, Natalie Pashai,
Akshay Jain.
Richard Janish, Marina Rustorfer, Mahum Kazi, Alexander Yusupov, Craig Applegate, David Barbakadze, Eula Ulbricht, Hayes Kennedy, Regan Murray, Anna Leah Maria Sadu, Kira Erickson McAuliffe,
Senior cards and men in plaid.
Emma McDonald, Karen Cran, Blair Stephen Chapman, Bennett Barth Kaufman, Michael Chernowski, Matthias Valenta, David Nicolas Stolweg, Alexandre Ede, Sunny Chen, Christian Harold Newbacher, Grace Yi Yan Young, Zoe Rosenberger, Joshua Lim, Benjamin Holda, Kyle Lawson Brown, Tae Seo Kim, Wei Yang Tu, Lu Jiao Zhang,
Jenny Zhang.
Qing Xuan Ma, Robinson Lacey, Tyler Brady,
Margie Cook.
Go ahead, stairs. Senior cards.
Francine Dawn Spang Willis, Harpal Singh Arora, Alan Hickey, Mirena Munich,
Handing your card over.
Stella Christiana Cascavelli, Amna Sammy A. Mosley, Mignon Fecker, Mauricio Rebolledo, Jeremiah May, Joshua Phillips, Wei Hao Lu, Shimon Jiro Dieseler, Shivan Gupta, Daniel Fu, Dong Hoon Kim, Ivan Barrer, Zhu Wei Mao, Hung Shan Lin,
Shiyu Lee.
Catherine Owens, Sophia Fullerton, Shi Yuan Pang, Anna Romanita Varvara Triff, Connor Sharkey, Charlotte Flood, Grace Yo, Arundhati Ponappa, Jessica Balistreri, Luke Fanus, Kevin Covarrubias, Emmanuel Matos, Isadora Costa Cardozo, Nikki Monazam, Tara Gondor, Julia Ramirez, Josephine Semb, Abby Lloyd, Aneska Ferreira, Fuhan Ding, Dong Ding, Eamon Navani,
Yuning Zhu,
Yunjing Wang, Michelle Z, Wen Xuan Zhang, Paul Roman, Chia Jung Kuo, Di Ju, Dharini Srinivasan, Samiksha Sivakoti, Luke Artola, Brooke Michaela Jeffords, Corina Baraceros, Andre Arpajo,
Betsy John,
Chen Baik Su Yang,
Bring your card to the right.
Jian Su,
Junhua Bian, Emma Marston, Mariam Machabelli, Ishita Chatterjee, Joan Mukogosi, John Brown, Mathia Griffith Innocent, Brianna Alexis Bober,
Odesewa Egbonovia,
Li Xian Mao, Aya Avatuv, Fan Ling Chang, Zi Qian Huang, Sakavarin Gurjaruzak, Krista Tiao, Jia Ying LV, Shui Jing Li,
Yuming Tu,
Hyunyang Shin, Benguzu Oschan, Hamida Alatas,
Dylan Rosenthal,
Mark Tabora Castillo, Prithvi Reddy Panati, Muhammad Garda Ramadito, Mohammed Saman,
Shuji Lee,
Sean Epen Abraham, Edmund Lam, Andrew Lai, Ka Ying Toby Law, Shin Tong Tang, Eun Ji Kim, Pei Yuan Huo, Shuang Zhang, Hao Gong Liu, Fu Ling Wang, Yun Xiang Liao, Yu Chang, Ya Qian Xiao, Changzhou Wang, Jia Liang Guo, Sierra Cheng, Meng Di Zhang, Chao Kun Zhu, Shuo Huang, Gamza Bilson, Cindy Lee, Joseph Ronzetti, Kevin Frazier, Yuna Choi,
Card to the right.
Wei Meng Liu,
Don't pause.
Xu Yuan Shan, Wen Yi Shu, Silu Ruan, Yu Bo Ma, Sali Madi,
Right, and keep going to the top of the stairs. Don't pause.
Michelle Strayer, Michaela Flum, Siona Samuel, Ying Yao Wu, Matthew Araldson, Catherine Charlesworth, Edward Hayter, Hyung Wang Cho, Zhu Rei Lo, Joel E. Lung Ni, Jia Yu Jiu, Ying Su, Sanjna Rajendra Shanoy, Shadia Sharif,
Yu Wong,
Renfang Yang, Yixuan Li,
Stairs.
Ranqing
go,
Lan,
go, go.
Tianqing Zhou, Zhiwen Huang, Zishuan Ruan, Xingchen Li, Yingshuan Li, Yuxin Liu, Tao Tao Jiang, Yingxi Zhang, Hanyu Zhang, Pei Shan Li, Jia Chen Guo, Hang Sen Tu, Qian Ying Wang, Nan Nan Fan, Shi Yin Li, Xia Shang, Meng Ting Wang, Lin Xu Guo, Yang Hu, Di Wu,
Tong Shen,
Yue Li, Zi Hong Kelly Chan, Yu Xin Zong, Meng Ying Shu, Roy Yi Gao, Yi Zhao Zuo, Yao Chen, Brenda Kaye, Anjin Tang, Zhe Yinghua, Rand Forrester, Kevin Davis, Can Li, Hong Bin Chen, Yu Jiazeng, Di Kai Xue, Shao Fan Liu, Qin Yue Hao, Vince Wang, Kirsten Barr,
Keep moving up the stairs.
Rory Butler, Ludmila Filipova, Katrina Dang, Jeffrey Tsai, Silvia Sunseri, Davide Vaccari, Patrick Ambrogio, Natalie Hall, Christina Fernandez, Michael Hogans,
Kiana LaRae Nelson,
Elise Schlecht, Erica Stefano, Andre Grashkin,
Emma Wilbur,
Avnish Mehra, Teresa Siementhal, Yu Fan
Don't
Zhao,
pause. Just hand your card to the right and go right up the stairs.
Yingfei Zhu, Yuan Yin Ge, Xiao Shuai Cui, Yan Luo, Tong Ju, Li Jue Zhao, Ku Wei Zhao, Ray Lu, Jinghan Ma, Yi Pei Chan, Arya Ayadi Ghaffari, Yumeng Li, Liu Chen Zhao, Xin Yi Ju,
Jenny Lee,
Jun Tian Zhang, Jinke Li,
Hand your card over there and keep moving up the stairs. Don't pause.
Dong Dan Che, Jordan Sif,
Jingbin Cao,
Cheng Hao He, Samit Lamba. Chloe Elaine Romans. Fredja Geberbauer Nielsen. Judith Uher. Melissa Audrey Friedhoff. Jingcheng Song. Jing Guang. Shou Xuanji. Tong Zhao. Beifan Chen. Li Mangluo. Yu Jietu. Jian Fanglin. Wen Jiexie. Xin Yuan Peng. Xin Yizhang. Nicoletta Yanakulo. Yilu Fang. Zhonghui Xie. Yi Nuo Chen. Meng Yuan Chai. Hui Shang.
Wan Ying Li.
Karen Gritz. Adam Gelman.
Just keep going.
Shanina Wang.
Wenyu Li.
Zuqi Liao.
Mary DeMayer.
Nicholas Milinkovich. Chetan Balakrishna. Ying Wu. Yi Si Wu. Yi Ying Zhi. Chu Yun Ho.
Midori Isozaki.
Melissa Wu.
Shalia Evans.
Judith Espinoza.
Anna Crayer. Morgan Roberts.
Bo Crowells. Diego Vasquez. Daphne Neftali Joseph.
Lingzi Kong.
Elizabeth Singh. Brian Goddard. Lisette Farrellkill. Tian Jiang. Robert Daniel Fonsen. Christian Joseph Makahile.
Remy Spanierman. Jinru Tang.
Keep moving, Chris, next.
Come on.
Go ahead.
Ivan Snook.
Ye Shu.
Chen Zhang.
And now, my parting remarks to the graduating class. You have acquired, while at Columbia, the skills to create knowledge in your discipline, but also simply the habit of creating knowledge, and not just the content of new knowledge, but novel forms of producing, evaluating its social impact, and communicating it. The turn of the 20th century understanding of academic disciplines as bounded by self-evident limits that were patrolled by their practitioners has given way in the contemporary university to new configurations that we are straining to encompass through the imaginative creations of new labels and institutional arrangements. Another university is being born before our eyes, and during your stay here, you have both witnessed and helped produce that transformation. In the last 30 years or so, the university has been challenged to abandon one of its most cherished foundation conceits, the institution's avowed separation from the larger social world, the fantasy that at its gates, instrumentality and the market were held at bay. And as it happens with the dissolution of fantasies of every kind, the subject who now has to confront a new life without them is left simultaneously wiser and yet more vulnerable. This more porous understanding of the relationship between the university and the larger social fabric implies that the distinction between those of us who will remain in the university and you who are about to leave the institution becomes more tenuous and less precise. The university of the future will be constructed as a collective project that will involve both its current members and you, the soon-to-be alumni of the institution. You may be physically absent from the campus, but that absence should not be mistaken as a license to dissociate from the ongoing life of your department or your school. While we hope that you have had a wonderful experience at Columbia, we do not want you to think of your graduate studies through the mind's eye of nostalgia or only of reminiscence. Nostalgia, as you know, is wont to idealize and falsify. As Bruce famously pronounced, the remembrance of things past is not necessarily the remembrance of things as they were. Or as Faulkner concluded in Light in August, memory believes before knowing remembers. Instead, what I would ask is that you define your relationship to Columbia from this moment on using the same analytical tools and skills that you have learned during your studies here, that you consider rigorously your sojourn as a graduate student in this institution and help shape this evolving understanding of the university into the best, most supple experience it can be for those of us who remain, both current students and administrators, and for those yet to arrive. You have a privileged vantage point from which to evaluate your experiences here as comprising a full trajectory, a completed whole, before the powerful allure of nostalgia does its fragrant and sweet work. When you become alumni on Wednesday, you should also be aware that we will need your critical eye and your steadfast commitment to that critical perspective to ensure that we who remain here continue to do our best work. You will be our emissaries to the world, and all of us at Columbia will rejoice in your inevitable achievements. Yet you should also take every opportunity to let us know how best to prepare our students for a world that you will soon know much better than we. A world that no longer sits outside these gates passively awaiting your arrival, if it ever did, and whose requirements and demands now suffuse everything we do within these walls. The pandemic from which we are now emerging has been a terrible universal experience, but it has also required that we learn other ways of belonging and participating that are not limited to being physically present in the same space. These new, seemingly centrifugal formulations of community will make it possible for you to remain firmly tethered to the life of your department and school in ways that will redefine the meaning of your physical absence from this campus. Hence, be proud alumni of Columbia, but remain involved as well, applying the critical distance you have cultivated in your graduate studies to education you had received here, and transmitting to us your ideas on how to improve it will be perhaps the highest demonstration of your loyalty to this university and to the degree that you will be conferred this week. We will await expectantly your good counsel and your wisdom. We arrive then at the end of this magnificent ceremony. Go forth, prosper, and prevail. Make us and your relatives and friends prouder still about you than we are today. Will the candidates stand so we may give them a final round of applause? You're invited to a champagne reception immediately following this ceremony. Let me tell you where it is. Ansel Plaza, under the tent. I asked friends and families to wait to exit until after the faculty and the candidates have ascended the low brotherly steps. Thank you.